If you're paying any attention to the real estate market and the interest rates, you know that we have risen to a 20-year high in interest rates, up 7%. So why in the world would this be a good time to be a buyer or a seller within the Nashville market? Maybe in your community, can't answer that for you, but to be a buyer or a seller here in the Nashville market, actually there's a lot of good reasons to be that, although and in spite of the fact that it's a 7% interest rate. So let's talk about that. Today on the show, we're talking about reasons that this still could be the prime opportunity for you as buyers or sellers. And it's not just information from a realtor. This is stats, this is info, and maybe a perspective that you hadn't thought of. Hey, I'm Susan Thetford with Parks Realty, and I am a lifelong Nashville realtor. Here on the show, we talk about all things Nashville, moving to Nashville, what about the market, and I show you all kinds of wonderful spots that are here in the Middle Tennessee area. We are here at Centennial Park. It is a city park, as you can hear. Sirens. You sometimes hear helicopters because we're very close to the hospitals and life flight. You also hear the ducks behind me. So I will share with you every single week different things about the Nashville market, residential market, all the communities, both inside of Davidson County and around Davidson County that make up the Nashville SMSA. So if you are considering a move to the Nashville Tennessee market, then you need to stick around. Subscribe to this show. I'll tell you everything there is to know, and I'll shoot it straight. That duck is kind of loud. Today I'm walking around the beautiful Parthenon and the lake at the Parthenon simply because it's gorgeous. And on a beautiful fall afternoon in October in Nashville, you got to get outside and see some pretty spots. Now the Parthenon, I have a video about that, is right here in Midtown. It's a beautiful park. It was built for the Centennial of the city. And I'll let you go take a look at that. But if you live in the kind of Midtown area of Nashville, if you live maybe West End or work down near Vanderbilt, many of the places a lot of people come here for a walk in the park during lunch breaks or a run, and it's a beautiful spot. Nashville, you will find, has so many neighborhood parks everywhere, so there's no excuse not to be able to get outside. But let's talk about today's topic. As you know, interest rates are running about 7%. If you've been watching Nashville much in the last 2 years, you know that we've had about a 20 to 30% appreciation annually of residential homes. We are one of the go-to cities that so many people have been interested in moving to. And one of the first things you got to think about when you're not, you don't buy a home or sell a home in a vacuum. People have a reason to be buying or selling. Maybe they're leaving a community they really just don't like. Maybe the community has left them in their political persuasion, or maybe they want just a different type of lifestyle than what they have in their current home. I'm finding many people are moving to the Nashville area because their children moved here. The business environment is phenomenal. Or they came to Vanderbilt or Belmont, some of the universities, loved it, didn't want to leave. And families want to stay together. Many people want their children to grow up near grandparents. There's so many different reasons that people are wanting to move here. And Nashville is a wonderful place to live with, has many opportunities. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to show you the visual because you don't need to see me. But so people don't buy things in a vacuum. And if the time is right, and if you're really thinking about Nashville for so many of those reasons, and you think you've missed the market though because rates have gone up and the prices have increased, this may be the perfect time for you to really reconsider it. So I think I'm going to get away from the busyness of right here at the lake and people running and walking and taking photographs. Let's go sit down and have a talk. So interest rates have risen to the highest point in 20 years. Why in the world would anybody want to sell? Well, let's consider this. You don't buy a home or sell a home in a vacuum. There are things that are pushing you to make that move, right? So that's first we've got to realize. There's a lifestyle choice or children's school changes or so many different reasons that people are wanting to move. So it's not made in a vacuum. So then the next step is, okay, why would I want to be a seller? This is a great time to be both a buyer and a seller. Let's start with the buyer first. As far as the buyer goes, this is the first time in 2.5, 3 years that you can negotiate really well with sellers. If you've been watching the Nashville market long, you know that we've had about a 15 to 30% appreciation, depending on the location in Nashville, annually. This year has dropped to about 12% appreciation. So you're not having to pay as much for a home. The other part of this is that sellers, there's very little inventory on the market still, but there's still, and not quite as many buyers either. So you, for the first time in easily 3 years, can negotiate some things that you haven't been able to have the opportunity to negotiate over the last couple of years. Case in point, the last 4 offers I've made with people as both the selling agent and the buyer's agent is the seller has been paying title policy. Now, a title policy is a completely negotiable item here in Tennessee. It may be different from your location, but because there are not 20 offers on homes and there aren't multiple offers all over asking price, sellers are having to do a little bit more negotiation. And rather than have 10 offers on the table and people having to waive all appraisals and waive inspections and having this paying their own title policies, now when there's only 1 or so offer on the table, then those negotiations the seller's having to do. So maybe the title is going to be paid for by the seller, not the buyer. That could easily save you several $1,000s on closing costs. We're also finding a place now where the seller is not getting multiple offers. So maybe you're going to be able to have a quicker possession than you wanted. Maybe you can keep that washer and dryer and refrigerator that are not normally things that stay here in the Nashville market. Something you'll notice that if you are here in the park or if you live close to Midtown or close to many hospitals, what I'm hearing now is life flight. Hospitals having helicopters going out to pick up someone maybe from a crash. So hopefully they're all okay. But so buyers have been able to negotiate more because there is less competition for the very same home. They also have time to breathe and to think. It was not more than a year and a half ago that you had to see the house the first thing on the market. Probably didn't actually see it in person. Probably saw it with the FaceTime video. I can't tell you how many homes that I was able to sell with people with FaceTime when they're out of town. There wasn't the time to get here to see the house. There's a little more breathing room to see the house, to think about it, to really decide whether it works well for you. And that means you now can fall in love with your home. Many times people were in a short time period. They had to be in town because of school starting or because they'd sold their house elsewhere. They didn't want to have 2 moves. And they were buying a house because also it was 2.5%, 3% interest rate, the best in history. Well, lots of people were trying to do the same thing. So rather than wait out to find the best perfect home for them, they were buying a house because they needed a place to live. Now, the rates are a little bit higher. People are thinking a little bit longer. There's less competition on the market. So maybe you've got the possibility now of finding a home you love rather than just finding a home that you need a home. Those are some great things. Now, here's the flip side of that. For sellers, then why, if everything looks like it's going perfectly for buyers, why in the world would you want to be a seller? Let's think about this. Let's say maybe you own your home only 2-3 years. If you bought a home here in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, let's say in Green Hills, you bought that home, you only had it for 2.5 years, you've had about a 50% increase in value on that home with the market value. Now, we're not getting 3 to 4% per month increases now in appreciation the way we had then. It's balanced out. It's softened. So maybe even this year we only get a 3 or 4% appreciation. That's back to normal. That's back to real life. That's a good thing, actually. You still made 50% in that 2 years. Why would you sell? Well, maybe you didn't love that home. Maybe you bought a home really, really quickly and decided that the Green Hills area is too congested and you want to move a little further out. Maybe you've decided if you bought in Green Hills, but you have your kids in public schools, that you want to get them into the different set of public schools, maybe that Williamson County or Wilson County offers. You can take that 50% appreciation, take it elsewhere where maybe it has all the things that you want in a community. So what if you have to negotiate a little bit and maybe give up your washer and dryer? You made 50% appreciation. Or what if you have to help your buyer maybe buy down the interest rate and help them pay some closing costs? You're still walking away with 40% increase in values. There's a yin and a yang to this whole thing. You're never going to have the perfect interest rates and the cheaper housing prices and the no competition from other buyers. So it's a great time in many respects for both buyers and sellers. If you're a seller and you're staying here in the Nashville market, because people don't leave, but you've got some phenomenal equity. Maybe you're buying in an up market, but that up market isn't going to increase 20 to 30% either. There's no area in Nashville now that is having the 10, 20% appreciation annually that we saw the last 2 years. So your home, you can make some great money off of and great equity. Sure, you might be paying a little bit higher interest rate. Maybe the seller of the home you want to buy will negotiate helping you buy down your interest rate. You can do that, So many different options. Maybe you just go ahead and you buy at the 6%, 7% rate. The Fed is saying that they expect 2023 the rates to go down. Well, they may or they may not, but sometime in the next few years you can renegotiate your interest rate. But the prices of the homes are not going to go down. Why not accept the fact that we're in a softened market, less competition, more opportunity to be able to negotiate discount points, interest rate, washer and dryer, amenities. You have less probability of having to give that seller an extra 30, 60 days of living in the house free while they found another house, because that's just not the negotiating world we're in right now. Buyers and sellers each have some benefits to buying and selling a home right now. I can promise you rates are not going to change as far as Nashville falling. CoreLogic has just recently named us as the top 5 appreciating areas expected for the next 12 months. Nashville's still got a phenomenal business environment for people in manufacturing and medical fields. It's the 4 seasons. It's a community and a lifestyle that so many are looking for. And while they've got the opportunity before heavy winter comes, we're seeing a lot of people coming back into the Nashville community and really deciding now's a great time to buy. If that's you, I invite you, go ahead and reach out to me. Do what so many are doing. Call, email, text, do whatever it takes. Get in touch. Let's talk. I'll help you sort out the locations are all around Middle Tennessee. You've heard me mention before, there are 9 counties that encompass what you think of as Nashville. Downtown Nashville with the noise and traffic may not be your spot. I'll help you narrow down that funnel to the correct 1 or 2 counties that might be right for you, and then we really delve into it. So reach out. That's the first step. But don't despair. If you feel like you've lost out on the perfect time to buy your home here in the Middle Tennessee area, don't despair. That's not true. Till next week. See you then.